you know that the 100 meters can be broken down into 5 different phases? If you're interested in learning about the 100 meters and all its different phases and what you need to focus on in each phase in order to improve your 100 meter time, then keep watching. Hi guys, and welcome back to Fit with T. I hope you guys are good. If you're new here, I'm making athletic and fitness content to help you go from newbie to master in your athletics or fitness. So let's talk about the 100 meters. I'm going to break the race up for you guys into 5 different phases or 5 different components of the race. Some people might break it up into more, some people might break it up into less, but these are 5 different phases or components that any athlete competing in 100 meters will need to focus on, think about, train for in order to put their whole race together and put together a great race. So of course, we're going to start with the start. The start is critical when it comes to the 100 meters. Having a good start enables you to set yourself up well for the rest of your race, okay? Yes, some people are naturally better at the start. Some athletes are naturally better later on in the race, but regardless of where your strengths lie, you want to focus on improving your start. And the start, when you think about it, is about initially setting yourself up properly in the block. So if you haven't actually seen my video where I take you through how to set up your blocks, then check out that video where I go into more detail. But setting yourself up well, making sure that you've got angles in your leg, which is going to allow you to be able to push off with the most optimal power for you. That's going to give you that nice angle that you want to set yourself up for the acceleration of your race or your drive phase, which we're going to talk about next. And you want to make sure that you have some kind of a mindset routine in particular, because that's where you need to compose yourself at the start, isn't it? In order to focus in on that one thing. And what is that one thing? It is literally the B of the bang, reacting to that gun and pushing off with everything. We're pushing off with all the power that's within you. So making sure that you are pushing off of both feet. So that's going to mean that you have both feet set up on the block properly so you can push off as effectively as possible. So the start really and truly is what sets you up for the rest of your race. It's where you focus in your mind, you calm all the nerves, you drown out all the noise, and you just bring yourself into the present, into that moment, and that's where the race begins. So reacting to the gun, pushing out, driving out with full power, explosiveness, swinging your arm back, driving that knee forward, and getting that first foot down as quickly as possible. There are different techniques and different methods to achieve this, but the start is what you want to focus on, and going from that reaction to, like I said, that first stride, that second stride, that third stride, and setting yourself up for the acceleration. Some people call this a drive phase. I grew up calling this a drive phase. Essentially, you're coming out of the block at an angle, right? And each stride that you are putting down, you're building up your speed. The aim is we're trying to get to top speed as quickly as possible, isn't it? But without rushing it. I've said before on this channel that as much as it sounds counterintuitive, that you want to be patient with your power. You want to go through the full range of motion when you're going through this stride phase in order to get the most out of every stride that you're placing on the ground. If you were to look at ground contact time in 100 meters, essentially that ground contact time is getting reduced as you're going through the race. It's getting less and less and less as you're going through that race, right? And so the acceleration phase, you're building up your speed, you're building up your momentum, you're controlling that power. You are in control of what's happening. You're not just letting your body just run away. You're in control of what's happening. You've practiced it, you've refined it in training, so you know what you're doing, right? You have your race plan, so you're not allowing the pressure of competition to get to you. You are going through your race plan, you're going through your drive phase, and essentially what you're doing is you are, just like a plane, gradually rising up into that upright position, okay? So you're building your speed and gradually coming up into that upright running. So that transition is another phase of the race, moving from acceleration or the drive phase into your max velocity running, transitioning into that maximum velocity, into your max speed, right? And sometimes that's quite a difficult skill to master, that transition, going from a more horizontal angle into a more upright position. It's quite a difficult skill, something that I've struggled with personally, having your hips in the right position. And these are all the things that you need to train for and practice in order to perfect it, right? So you go from that drive phase, that acceleration phase, and you transition into your upright max velocity running, okay? And so this is the part of the race where you're at your top speed, okay? You're going to try to remain at that top speed for as long as possible. Depending on where you reached your top speed, you know, you're going to try to hold that for as long as possible. But that's where we call your upside. That's where you're at your max velocity, where you're going to apply front side mechanics, okay? And where your forces have become a bit more vertical now and you're pushing down, powering through. And that's where you see athletes like Usain Bolt, who are better when it comes to the max velocity side of things. They're better at maintaining their speed, right? So when it comes to now the last phase of the race, that last 30, 20, 15 meters of the race, when people begin to decelerate. I don't really like to be the negative, but it's true. That's what happens. And that's why with all of our training, with all of your training, you're trying to train your body to be able to hold your top speed as long as possible, hold the positions that enable you to keep producing effective force, keep producing the quick turnover of your leg and effective strides that help you to maintain what you have and lose as little speed as possible. So I want to call this last phase speed maintenance, okay? You're trying to maintain your form. When you start getting tired, when you see athletes begin to get tired, this is where, you know, towards the end of the race, where you see athletes begin to lose their form. It may be because of pressure as well that's happening in the race around you. You know, where you're trying to begin to reach for the line. That's where you want to keep your composure, keep your form, keep driving your arms, driving the knee up and down, that quick heel recovery. Try not to allow it to come all the way up behind your bum now, because you're getting tired, because you're reaching, and you want to maintain good forces, good position, good front side mechanic, which enables you to keep that stride, that turnover going, and allows you to keep the speed that you have. Whereas if you begin to reach forward, if you begin to lean too far forward and you begin to lose your form, all of these things actually slow you down, right? People begin to shake their head, all of these things, fighting for the line, it actually slows you down. So training yourself to maintain your speed by maintaining your form as well is all part of the training process. It's all part of maintaining composure and actually gaining experience when it comes to competition as well. Because the 100 meters, when you think about track events compared to field events, where field events, even though they're competing against their components, they're not competing at the same time in the same moment. Whereas when you're in a race, you're all together in the line, and none more so than in 100 meters. You know, the longer the distance of the race becomes, the less close together you see athletes are in terms of how close they are, in terms of the milliseconds, the hundredth of seconds between them, right? When it comes to 100, athletes are much closer together, and in your peripheral vision, you see athletes a lot more. So this is why trying to maintain your speed, maintain your form is quite difficult in 100 meters. And so knowing how you need to push out of the blocks, knowing how you need to go through your drive phase and your acceleration, knowing how to set your hips up properly so you can transition into your max velocity and keep that top speed that you have, go into that top speed phase of your race, and then maintain your form, your composure, and all of these things. And finally, I could add dip through the line. I could add dipping through the line, you know, because especially in 100, that's something you want to practice and get good at. And running through the line is something that you definitely want to focus on, because this is where races can so often be won or lost. And with all these phases, guys, even though I've broken it down in a competition, the idea is always that it's training where you practice these things, so that when it comes to a competition, even though I said you're in control of your power, essentially your body is kind of doing it on autopilot because you practice it, you drill this into yourself. It's subconscious to you that you go through this motion. You know, probably if you ask any athlete when they've run their personal best or when they have achieved a very great race, there's a feeling of almost freedom that comes with it. There's almost this thing where they can't recall the race because everything just clicked, everything just flowed, okay? And you want to get to this place where the race just flows from the start to the finish. You know, the race just flows and you almost can't remember it because of how perfectly it went, almost, right? So even though I'm breaking it down, even though I'm saying that you're in control of your power, even though I'm saying, you know, you don't want your body to run away with you, what I mean is that you don't want to be out of control in the sense that you can't control your leg speed. You know, you're falling over, right? This is where training and conditioning and practice comes into play. But when you do put these things together, there is that feeling of freedom. There is that feeling of just fluidity, flow that just happened when it all clicked. I'm not gonna lie, I've not had that feeling in a hot minute. Let me know below, how would you describe the feeling of running a personal best when your races come together in sync? What does it feel like for you? Let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, these are the phases, but this is why training is so important. Training is the place to make your mistakes. But if it does happen in a competition, then learn from it and then go again. Continue to perfect these phases, continue to drill in these components into your mind and your body. I really hope this video has been helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comment section below, how do you break down the 100-meter race? Was any of these phases new to you? Did you know the 100 could be broken up like this? Yes? No? Let me know in the comment section below. But if you like this video, guys, please give it a big thumbs up to help me accelerate my channel, to let the algorithm know, and so that more athletes like you can see this video. And like I said, if you haven't yet seen my blocked video where I take you through how to start the race well and actually get a good start for your race, then check it out over here. here. And if you want to learn more about what you need to actually just improve your speed and get faster in general, then make sure to check out this video. And I'll see you guys on another Friday. Bye guys.